This week's been fun. I started basically Tuesday night getting a sore throat. Of course, when I get a sore throat, it feels like you're swallowing razor blades. Anyway, I had to deal with that for a couple of days, and I had to go back to the doctor, which I've been to the doctor more this month than I've had in my entire life. But anyway, that's just what it feels like. But anyway, we're on the up and up. Hopefully, voice will stay pretty a-okay, so I don't lose my voice while I am talking. But anyway, I wanted to share that because, you know, being sick sucks. The big petty car. I did manage to get the body onto the chassis, and I gotta say this. This kit just does not fit at all. One thing, when I got the chassis on, the little intake thing here, it doesn't fit this at all, and I tried my darndest to get it on, and basically it's making the bottom here stick out, so I had to rip that off, rip this back off, put the bottom part on, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to saw this basically in half and make this fit on the inside, because it just does not fit at all. I don't see how anyone got it to fit. Whoever built this kit anyway, I don't see how they got it to fit at all. But anyway, I got that on. Basically going to go back in and do a little bit of touch up where I missed beforehand, and I want to get where you can actually, what you can see is what I'm going to touch up. What you can't, you don't have to worry about it. The tires, I went in and super glued all the rims except for that one, because that's actually the way it's supposed to do, but they all just would not fit right, so they're all super glued in, and I'll probably have to. They kind of fit, but they don't either. And I think what I'm going to do is right here, I'm going to whack probably a good portion of that off, and then just get them super glued in, and they'll be good and sturdy and straight. I got to go back in. I popped the windshield off when it trying to get because you got to like flex the body over the chassis, and so I had to take a little bit of Mr. Super Glue, just a little bit, just to get it tacked back on. And there's a little bit of an edge there. So what I want to do is take a chisel blade, which is a squared off blade, and I want to chisel off the little bit of the super glue. If you use super glue on a clear part, I always put just a couple dabs, like on a toothpick, and then immediately shoot it with accelerator while you're holding it, and that way it won't fog or craze it. And so anyway, hopefully to get the chisel blade out and get that fixed up, and then we'll put a couple coats of Future on it, and we'll be good to go. But anyway, there is that. So hopefully get a little more done on it today or tomorrow. The Tiger, got it all assembled. It's actually a really great kit. I mean, it's a little vague in some things, like the track should have like a hole for the cleat, but no big deal. I mean, you really ain't gonna notice it. One thing about the vents here, I like to use instead of photo etch, is I like to use vent screen, and that's for you know, screen door or a like a window, and I think it just works really well. It's what I do is I cut it out, and then I take a sharp knife and trim it to fit, and then I just saturate it with MEK, and this way it makes it dented, and when you get paint on it and put your weathering on it, it'll fill in some of the vents. It just makes a good dent and used is what I like to use. I don't like them when they're just totally fresh new, unless you're doing a factory one. Hold on now. I've been suffering with the sore throat here lately. It's been water time. There we go. And I like the dented look. I just think it looks so I left the tow cables on, and I just trimmed around it, and just more MEK, and it makes a good dent, you know, like you know, actual combat. And but anyway, it is motorized. It reminds me of the old 70s Tamiya kits, and there's the on and off. So you I better move that before I spill it. You turn it on. Actually, everything rolls, and it takes off. it's pretty cool unless you just want to go you know, one direction. My only complaint with the kit, and I tried to fix it, but I really can't, and I'm gonna have to just leave it, is the front axle. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the first wheel on there pushed all the way to the front, but that's the only really drawback to it. But anyway, other than that, it's really a great kit, and I want to try to. I got to go dig out some track so I can put that on the side, and then there's a couple details we'll have to add later on. But anyway, that's what I'm planning on doing, is get the track on the turret, and then I'll probably put the base coat on, is what I'm planning on doing. But anyway, there is the Tiger. The Warbird, I pretty much got it assembled. I had to basically work my way from the head here, wires, and basically run them all down one side. You can see I drilled the holes on the middle section here, and it's ready to be glued down. And then I'll be able to I got to glue that down to this once I get this part glued down. But anyway, there's the wires, and these will be wired up this way, and then I'll shoot another wire down, that's the next step, and then we can do final assembly and get it all assembled. So anyway, it'd be something like that, and we'll be good to go. Anyway, it's a simple kit. I mean, some of it's I don't want to say poorly engineered. There's a lot of sanding. I got most of it, everything sanded, but I'm going to have to go back in. Once I get masked off, I got to shoot a little primer on it just to see where I left off. Anyway, that's where I stand on that, so hopefully I get a little more done on it. Anyway, that is what I've got going on today. I'm going to try to mend the old sore throat. I should have a couple kit reviews, should have a shed update, and we'll continue more on the Romulan Warbird. We'll continue more on the Big Petty Car and the new Ray Tiger. So that's what I got going on today, so stay tuned for the next exciting episode.